The royal palace of Zarnax Prime rose like a mountain carved from moonlight, its towering spires piercing the violet sky, glowing with an inner luminescence that pulsed like a slow, ancient heartbeat. Constructed from crystalline alloys unknown to human science, the palace shimmered under twin suns, one gold, one silver, casting long, shifting shadows across the vast marble plaza where thousands had gathered in silence. The air hummed with energy, thick with tension and the faint scent of ozone and something deeper, almost floral, like crushed star lilies. At the center of it all stood the throne chamber, open to the heavens, where the alien queen loomed over her court, her presence bending light around her like gravity warping space. She was immense, not in height alone, though she towered at nearly 9 feet, but in aura, in command, in the sheer weight of her being. Her skin was pale as fresh snow under starlight, smooth and flawless, reflecting the ambient glow of the palace like polished porcelain. Her hair flowed down her back in waves of purest white, not strands but something more fluid, almost liquid, catching the wind in ghostly ripples, as if spun from frozen moonbeams. Her eyes, large and almond-shaped, glowed a soft blue, flickering with intelligence older than Earth's oceans. She wore armor forged from living metal, plates that shifted subtly with her breath, embedded with runes that whispered secrets when no one listened too closely. And now she roared. It wasn't a sound meant for human ears. It ripped through the plaza like thunder born inside a volcano, shaking the very foundations of the palace. Cracks spiderwebbed across the lower terraces. Birds exploded from their perches in the floating gardens. Even the alien nobles, tall and serene in their flowing robes of iridescent silk, flinched and stepped back, their 6-fingered hands clutching ceremonial staffs or personal shields. The roar carried fury, confusion, betrayal. Something sacred had been violated, something deeply personal. Slowly, the queen lowered her massive head, her jaw still clenched, fangs glistening like shards of ice. Her gaze swept the assembly, cold and searching, scanning every face, every twitch, every hidden thought betrayed by a flicker of the eyes. "Who?" she said, her voice still echoing with power, resonant like a cello played deep underground. "Dared touch my armor?" A hush fell so complete it felt like the world had stopped breathing. No one moved. No one dared. The armor in question was legendary, the warskin of Vorin, worn only by queens of the Zalthari bloodline during times of great trial. It was said to be alive, bonded to the monarch's nervous system, responding to thought, emotion, even dreams. To tamper with it was not just treason, it was sacrilege. And yet, something had changed. The left pauldron, once jagged and spiked like frozen lightning, now curved smoothly, elegantly, almost human in design. A tiny glyph near the collarbone pulsed a steady green instead of its usual crimson. And the joints, once stiff, requiring immense strength to move, now flexed with silent precision, as if oiled by time itself. The queen raised her arm, studying the altered section. "This is not Zalthari work," she murmured, more to herself than the crowd. "The symmetry is wrong. The resonance is pleasant." She paused, nostrils flaring. "It smells like machine oil and sweat." A ripple passed through the gathering. Machine oil? Sweat? Those were human things. Earth things. Crude. Unrefined. Most of the Zalthari considered humans little more than curious apes who'd stumbled into interstellar politics by accident. Brave, yes. Tenacious, certainly. But refined? Elegant? Never. And yet here was proof. Someone had not only accessed the queen's personal sanctum, bypassed biometric locks keyed to her DNA and soul frequency, but had improved upon sacred technology. "Bring me the human engineers," the queen commanded. From the far end of the plaza, a group of 5 humans emerged, escorted by armored guards with obsidian blades strapped to their backs. They walked stiffly, overwhelmed by the scale of everything. The towering aliens, the gravity 3/4 stronger than Earth's, the sheer weirdness of a civilization that communicated half in telepathic pulses and half in song. Their jumpsuits were standard issue. Navy blue with reflective stripes, tool belts slung low, patches reading Terran Engineering Core Sector 7. They looked like plumbers who'd wandered onto a battlefield. One of them, however, stood out. Not because he was taller, he wasn't, or stronger, he looked like he might snap in a strong breeze, but because he walked differently. While the others kept their eyes down, shoulders hunched against the oppressive atmosphere, this man held his head high. His dark brown hair was cropped short, military style, but messy, as if he'd run his hands through it one too many times. His face was lean, weathered beyond his years, with sharp cheekbones and a crooked nose that had clearly been broken at least once. He wore grease stains on his sleeves like medals, and when he reached the front, he didn't kneel, didn't bow, just stopped, hands at his sides, and stared up at the queen with calm, dark eyes. Her gaze locked onto him instantly. "You," she said, not a question. He nodded once. "Yeah, me." A murmur spread through the crowd. He spoke without permission. He did not tremble. He used a human contraction, "me," in the royal tongue. The queen took a step forward, the ground trembling beneath her bare, clawed feet. "You are the mechanic? Engineer," he corrected gently. "Name's Ren Veric." Another ripple. He gave his name unprompted. "Foolish. Or brave." "You entered my sanctum," the queen said, her voice dropping to a dangerous purr. "You touched the warskin. You altered it. Do you know what happens to those who defile royal relics?" Ren shrugged. "Probably something painful, but I didn't defile it. I fixed it." A beat of silence. Then laughter. Not from the queen. From the court. High-pitched, chiming giggles from the noblewomen. Snorts from the warriors. Even one guard covered his mouth with 3 fingers. The idea was absurd. A human fixed Zalthari royal armor? Like a child claiming they'd repaired a god's crown with glue and string. But the queen didn't laugh. She tilted her head, studying him. "Fixed it? How?" Ren exhaled, then reached slowly into his tool belt. The guards tensed, blades half-drawn. But he pulled out not a weapon, but a small, flat device. A diagnostic pad, cracked screen, duct-taped at the corners. He tapped it once, and it whirred to life, projecting a hologram of the armor schematics midair. The Zalthari gasped. Their tech didn't use holograms, only neural projections. This was crude, primitive. And yet, there, Ren said, pointing. "See this feedback loop in the left shoulder actuator? It was misaligned by 0.3 degrees, causing microstutters in your range of motion. Probably gave you a crick in the neck after long speeches. Also, this power regulator, overcompensating, draining the core 18% faster than necessary. And the heating element near the spine, set to Arctic survival mode. Ma'am, you're a warm-blooded organism with internal thermal regulation. You don't need to be heated like a greenhouse." The hologram rotated, highlighting each flaw with blinking red dots. The queen stared. Then slowly, deliberately, she moved her left arm in a wide arc, smooth, silent. No click, no hesitation. She hadn't noticed the stutter before. Her body had compensated for decades. But now that it was gone, the difference was obvious. Like realizing you'd been walking with a pebble in your shoe for years. How did you access the sanctum?" she asked, voice quieter now. Ren smirked. "You left the maintenance hatch open, behind the statue of the first prophet. Your security system flagged it as low priority because it's only used during coronation rituals. But the airflow sensor showed a 2% variance, meaning someone had recently passed through. Took me 2 hours to crawl through the ventilation shafts. Got stuck once. Had to wiggle out backwards. Lost a boot. Still haven't found it." A few Zalthari exchanged glances. This was true. The hatch was open. An oversight. A tiny flaw in perfection. "And the biometrics?" the queen pressed. "Your armor sheds microscopic skin cells. I collected a few from the meditation chamber rug. Mixed them with synthetic plasma and ran a spoof through a jury-rigged bioscanner. Took 6 tries. Blew up a console. Sorry about that." The queen blinked. "You used shed skin to impersonate me?" "Temporarily," Ren said. "And ethically. I left a note saying I was borrowing it. Signed it with a smiley face." Now, even some of the warriors snorted. One actually slapped his knee. The queen closed her eyes. When she opened them, they burned brighter. "You broke into the most secure chamber in the Empire. Tampered with royal regalia. Committed multiple counts of technological sacrilege. And you expect mercy because you made my shoulder feel better?" Ren didn't flinch. "I expected you'd want to know why your armor was failing. That glitch in the power regulator? If left unchecked, it would have caused a cascade failure in 73 days. Could have fried your neural interface during battle. Might have paralyzed you. Or worse, caused the armor to turn on you. Seen it happen. Human exosuits. Nasty business." Silence again. Heavier this time. The queen turned slightly, addressing her court. "Is this true? Could the warskin have failed?" An elderly advisor, his white hair braided with silver thread, stepped forward. We did detect minor fluctuations. We assumed it was natural degradation. The armor is over 3,000 years old. 3,000 years of pride, Ren muttered. And zero preventative maintenance. The advisor shot him a glare. And who are you to judge our ways, Mudwalker? Ren Veric, he said again. Senior Systems Engineer, Terran Diplomatic Corps. Assigned to assist with integration of human and Zalthari technologies post-alliance treaty. My job is to keep things from exploding. Usually succeeds. Sometimes doesn't. Ask the guys on Ganymede Station. The Queen raised a hand, silencing further debate. She stepped down from the dais, her bare feet making no sound on the crystal floor. She circled Ren slowly, like a predator assessing prey, or a sculptor examining a strange new material. You are either the most insolent creature I have ever met, she said, or the most brilliant. Often both, Ren admitted. She stopped in front of him. Up close, she was even more imposing. Her eyes seemed to look through him, reading layers of thought, history, fear. But Ren didn't look away. He couldn't afford to. In his line of work, blinking at the wrong moment could get you spaced. Finally, she reached out, her fingers long, delicate, tipped with translucent claws, and touched the side of his face. Not harshly, almost curious. You are not afraid, she observed. A little, Ren said honestly. Mainly of dying covered in alien slime. But mostly, not really. Why? He shrugged. Fear's useful when you're facing a live plasma conduit. Less so when you're dealing with royalty. You can't fix a warp core while screaming. Same principle. The Queen withdrew her hand. Then, to everyone's shock, she laughed. It wasn't a roar this time. It was rich, full, unexpected. A sound like bells tumbling down a hill. The court froze. Some looked horrified. Others, intrigued. You amuse me, Ren Veric, she said. You trespass. You mock our systems. You fix what we believed unbreakable. And you do it with the manners of a drunken miner. Appreciate the compliment, Ren said. She stepped back, raising her voice for all to hear. Let it be known, the human Ren Veric has committed acts that, by law, should see him dissolved in acid. And yet, the warskin functions better than it has in centuries. His methods are crude, his approach, reckless. But his results cannot be denied. She paused, letting the words sink in. Therefore I decree, Ren Veric is hereby appointed Royal Technomancer, the first non-Zalthari to hold such title. He shall have full access to the palace archives, the forge chambers, and the Sanctum of Whispers. He will audit all royal systems. And if he breaks anything else, she smiled, fangs glinting, I'll let him fix it. The court erupted, some in protest, some in reluctant awe. The human engineers behind Ren stared at him like he'd just grown a second head. One mouthed, what the hell did you do? But Ren just nodded, as if this happened every day. Which honestly it kind of did. Life in the palace was different. For starters, the toilets flushed sideways. Literally. Ren still hadn't figured out why. Second, the beds adjusted to your emotional state, which meant he spent his first night being gently squeezed by his mattress because he was experiencing low-grade existential dread. Third, the food. Oh, the food. Everything was served in gel form, because the Zalthari absorbed nutrients through their skin pores. Ren tried explaining that humans like chewing, preferably on things that didn't wobble when poked. The royal chef responded by creating a crunch simulation gel that made loud snapping noises when bitten but tasted like regret and motor oil. Still, he adapted. His quarters were in the Spire of Echoes, a narrow tower where sound traveled in spirals. Every whisper bounced and multiplied until it became a chorus. Ren solved this by playing old Earth rock music at maximum volume. After 3 days, the neighboring nobles began humming AC/DC in their sleep. His workshop was another matter entirely. Located beneath the palace in the Forge of Forgotten Fires, it was a cavernous hall lit by molten rivers of liquid metal flowing through glass channels in the floor. Ancient machines stood dormant, humming with residual energy, their purposes lost to time. Ren treated it like a garage sale find. Within a week, he jury-rigged a coffee maker from a coolant pump, strung Ethernet cables along the ceiling, much to the horror of the energy priests, and installed a hammock between 2 support beams. He also started fixing things. Not just the Queen's armor, though he did add a few upgrades. Voice command, hey Warskin, play jazz. Auto-polish mode. a discreet cup holder on the hip plate. The Queen pretended to disapprove, secretly loved it, but other things too. He recalibrated the palace gravity regulators after Lady Syra complained her hair wouldn't float properly during ceremonies. Turns out a pigeon had nested in the main control node. He rewired the mood lighting in the grand hall so it didn't flash strobe during funerals. Previous engineer had confused mourning cycle with dance party protocol. He even fixed the royal fountain that sang the national anthem whenever someone sneezed. Biometric misfire. Easy patch. With each fix, the court's attitude shifted. At first, they called him the Grease Monkey King. Then, the man who dared. Then, simply, Veric. Some still hated him. Lord Kforn, master of the armored choir, accused him of stealing harmony from the universe, after Ren replaced a malfunctioning resonance drum with a repurposed spaceship engine. It sounded better, honestly. Priestess Mela claimed his presence disrupted the spiritual frequency of the palace and demanded he wear a purity veil. Ren gave her a motorcycle helmet instead. She wore it for 3 days before realizing it wasn't sacred. But others respected him. Like young Prince Threll, 16 cycles old, fascinated by Earth gadgets. He'd sneak into Ren's workshop, wide-eyed, asking endless questions. How does a toaster know when bread is done? It doesn't. It guesses. Like people. Do humans mate in groups of 4 like the Glarn? No. Mostly 1 at a time. Sometimes 2. Never 4. That's just Tuesday. Threll adored him. Even the Queen began seeking him out. Not officially. Never in public. But late at night, when the palace slept and the twin moons hung low, she'd appear at his workshop door, unannounced, still in her armor, asking quiet questions. Why do you repair things? Because broken things hurt people, Ren said, soldering a circuit board. And I hate seeing things suffer when they don't have to. Even ugly things? Especially ugly things. They need love the most. She watched him work. His hands steady, focused, grease-streaked. You are unlike any being I have known. Comes with the species. We're stubborn. Also bad at sitting still. She stayed longer each time. Sometimes just watching. Sometimes helping. Once, she handed him a tool without being asked. He didn't thank her. Just nodded. She liked that. But peace never lasts. It came in the form of a transmission burst signal encrypted originating from deep space. Intercepted by the orbital array. Marked with the sigil of the Void Reavers. A nomadic war cult that despised the Alliance, despised peace, despised progress. They had attacked human colonies. Zalthari outposts. Dozens dead. Hundreds enslaved. And now they were coming. The message was simple. We know the Queen keeps a human pet. We will flay him alive before her eyes. Then burn her palace. Then her planet. Silence followed. Then chaos. The War Council convened within the hour. Generals argued. Priests chanted prophecies. Scientists ran simulations. All agreed. The Reavers would arrive in 12 days. Their fleet was massive. Their weapons brutal. Zarnax Prime had defenses, yes, but nothing guaranteed. And in the middle of it all, Ren Veric stood quietly in the corner, sipping terrible Zalthari coffee substitute. The Queen noticed him. You have thoughts. He set the cup down. Yeah, you're thinking defense. Shields. Cannons. Troop deployment. We are at war, she said. War's expensive, Ren said. And messy. What if you didn't fight? Every head turned. What if? He continued. You misunderstood? Explain, the Queen ordered. The Reavers hate us for uniting, for sharing tech, for evolving. But they don't know how we do it. They think it's magic, ritual, lies. So what if we show them? Not with weapons. With repair. Blank stares. Ren grinned. Let me fix one of their ships. Laughter erupted. Insane. Impossible. But the Queen didn't laugh. She studied him. You believe you can board a Reaver vessel, disable its crew, repair its systems, and make it surrender. Not surrender, Ren said. Sing. He explained his plan. The Reavers used ancient, decaying vessels powered by unstable cores. Their tech was scavenged, patched, barely functional. Perfect for sabotage. Or salvation. Ren proposed stealing a stealth shuttle, infiltrating a Reaver scout ship, and using his engineering skills not to destroy it, but to heal it. Fix the failing engines. Stabilize the reactor. Restore communication. Show them that cooperation, not conquest, was the path to survival. If their ship works better than ever, Ren said, they'll wonder how. Then we contact them, offer alliance, knowledge, peace. Or they execute you the moment you step aboard, the Queen said. Possible, Ren admitted, but less possible than winning a fleet battle with current odds. The room fell silent. The Queen stood, walked to the great window, looked at her world. Its shining cities, its children playing in the light gardens, its ancient trees singing in the wind. Then she turned. Prepare the shuttle, she said, and give Ren Veric whatever he needs. 3 days later, he launched alone. The mission was brutal. He boarded the Reaver ship during a solar storm, slipping through magnetic blind spots. Found the core, a pulsing, cancerous mass of corrupted energy. Spent 36 hours rewiring, replacing, coaxing life back into dead circuits. Survived on protein paste and adrenaline. Avoided patrols by hiding in waste conduits. Smelled worse than diplomacy. And then success. The ship hummed. Lights returned. Communications online. Ren sent the signal. This is Ren Veric of Earth. Your vessel is stable. Your crew is safe. You don't have to fight. You can come home. On Zarnax Prime, the Queen waited. When the report came in, that the Reaver ship had powered down, lowered its weapons, and broadcast a message of truce, she did not cheer. She closed her eyes. And for the first time in her long, lonely reign, she smiled. But the story isn't over, because peace, like machinery, requires constant maintenance. And somewhere in the dark between stars, new threats stir. New problems await. And Ren Veric? He's already working on the next fix. The silence after the Reaver ship's surrender was not the absence of sound, but the presence of something deeper. Something unspoken that settled over the palace like morning mist. It clung to the crystal walls, pooled in the quiet corridors, lingered in the way the Queen paused at the edge of her balcony each dawn, staring toward the spire of echoes where Ren Veric still slept under a hammock strung between ancient beams, snoring softly to the rhythm of a broken air filter. He had returned 3 days after the mission, dragging himself out of the stolen shuttle like a man pulled from a dream. His jumpsuit was scorched, his hands blistered, one eye swollen shut from a close encounter with a malfunctioning hatch. But he was alive, and grinning. I told you it'd work, he croaked, handing over a small data core containing the full repair logs and the Reaver's first hesitant message of peace. We do not understand, but we are grateful. The court had erupted in celebration. Fireworks made of frozen light burst across the sky. The great bells of Zarnax tolled for the first time in 2 centuries. Diplomats from 23 allied systems sent congratulatory pulses through the quantum network. Even Lord Kvorn begrudgingly admitted that the grease monkey may possess marginal utility. But the Queen did not celebrate. She stood at the docking bay's threshold as medics swarmed Ren, gently peeling off his ruined gloves. Without a word, she stepped forward, knelt beside him. Something no Zalthari monarch had done for a foreigner in living memory, and placed her cool hand over his burned one. You should have died, she said, voice low. Yeah, Ren replied, wincing as a medic sprayed nanite gel on his arm. Didn't feel like it today. Her fingers tightened slightly. You risked everything. For them. For us, he corrected. They're part of the Alliance now, or they will be. That's the point. She studied him. The stubble on his jaw, the dark circles under his eyes, the stubborn set of his mouth even in pain. Then, so quietly only he could hear, she said, You are more than an engineer. Ren blinked. I fix things. That's all I've ever been good at. No, she said. You mend what others believe is beyond saving. Even when no one asks, especially then. He didn't answer, just looked at her, really looked, and saw not just the Queen, the warrior, the legend, but the woman beneath. Tired, isolated, carrying the weight of a species on shoulders that, for all their strength, sometimes trembled. And in that moment, something shifted. Not dramatically, not with fanfare or declarations, but like a gear clicking into place after years of grinding resistance. From then on, things changed, subtly at first. The Queen began appearing at Ren's workshop not just at night, but during daylight hours. She brought no guards, no entourage, just herself, often still in partial armor, asking questions about human tools, Earth history, why he carried a chipped coffee mug with the words "World's Okayest Engineer" etched in fading ink. It was a joke gift, Ren explained once, wiping grease off a plasma relay. From my team after I accidentally turned the oxygen recyclers into a karaoke machine. And they still let you work on life support? she asked, amused. Turns out people sing better when they're not suffocating. Morale went up 40%. She laughed, a real laugh, unrestrained. And for the first time, Ren noticed how it softened her face, how it made her eyes glow brighter, like stars igniting behind ice. Later, she started leaving things in his workshop. A rare crystalline tuning fork used in Zalthari meditation rituals. He turned it into a resonance stabilizer for the palace's gravity grid. A vial of liquid moonlight harvested from the northern lakes. He used it to coat solar collectors, boosting efficiency by 30%. Then, one morning, he found a small, carved box on his workbench. Inside was a single white hair, long, luminous, unmistakably hers. No note, no explanation. Ren held it gently, feeling the strange warmth it emitted, like sunlight stored in silk. He didn't use it for anything, didn't test it, just placed it beside his mug and left it there. People noticed. Prince Threll whispered to his tutor, "I think the queen likes the human." The tutor gasped, "Do not speak such blasphemy." But she smiled at him yesterday, and shared water from her cup. That was ceremonial. "Yeah," Threll said, smirking. But she didn't spit it out after. Even the Palace AI, a semi-sentient network known as the Whisper Mind, began adjusting its behavior. Lights brightened in Ren's path. Elevators arrived faster. The mood-regulating gardens bloomed with earth-like flowers. Daisies, sunflowers, even a sad little patch of dandelions that somehow survived the alien soil. When Ren asked the Whisper Mind why, it responded in its usual cryptic tone. Optimal emotional resonance detected. Sustaining harmony. He rolled his eyes. "You're matchmaking a greasy mechanic and a 9-foot alien queen. That's messed up." "You fixed the warskin," the AI replied. "Perhaps she wishes to fix you." Then came the storm. Not weather, war. The Reaver's surrender had fractured their fleet. While one faction embraced peace, another, led by the warlord Vrax the Hollow, declared the truce a betrayal. They launched a surprise assault on a neutral trade hub, destroying 3 ships, killing diplomats, and broadcasting a new message. The weak shall be purged. The hybrid age ends in fire. Zarnax Prime went on high alert. The War Council convened again, voices sharp with fear and fury. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others called for retreat, for shielding the planet, waiting out the storm. Ren sat quietly, listening, until the queen turned to him. "You stopped one ship with kindness," she said. "Can you stop an army?" He exhaled slowly. "Kindness doesn't win wars, but understanding does." He proposed a different kind of mission. Not stealth, not sabotage, invitation. He would travel to the edge of Reaver space aboard a defenseless vessel, no weapons, no shields, just a broadcast array and a cargo hold full of repaired tech. Salvaged engines, stabilized cores, medical drones programmed in both Zalthari and Reaver dialects. "I'll go alone," he said. "Walk into their stronghold. Offer them function, stability, a future that doesn't end in rust and rage." It was madness. Suicide, some said. The queen forbade it. For 3 days she refused to see him. The palace grew cold, the lights dimming as if mourning in advance. Ren packed his tools anyway, wrote a short letter, left it on the workbench beside the white hair. On the 4th night, the door to his workshop opened. She stood there unarmed, unarmored, dressed in simple silver robes, her long white hair loose around her shoulders. Her eyes were red not from anger, but from lack of sleep, from worry. "You will die," she said. "Maybe," Ren said. "But if I don't try, more will." She stepped forward. "You think your way is better. Your peace. But the universe is not kind. Ren. It devours the gentle." "So do I," he said softly. "Every time I eat breakfast. Doesn't mean I stop feeding people." A flicker of a smile. Gone as quickly as it came. She reached into her robe and pulled out a small device. A neural link, shaped like a crescent moon. "This connects to the warskin. To me. If you wear it, I can hear your thoughts, feel your pain, guide you, protect you if I can." "It's a tracker," Ren said. "It's a tether," she corrected. "To bring you back." He hesitated. "I can't have distractions out there. One wrong move and it's over." "I know," she said. "So take it, not because I command it, but because I ask." Their eyes met, and in that look, something passed between them. Deeper than duty, older than language. Not love, not yet, but the quiet, terrifying possibility of it. The kind that doesn't shout, but whispers in the spaces between heartbeats. Ren took the device, slid it behind his ear, felt the faint pulse as it synced with his nervous system, and for the first time heard her voice not in his ears, but in his mind. Come back to me. The journey was long. The Reaver border was a graveyard of dead ships, floating like bones in a black sea. His vessel, the Humble, drifted silently, broadcasting open frequencies, playing soft music, earth lullabies, Zalthari hymns, even a looping track of rain on a tin roof, because Ren had read somewhere that steady rhythm calmed aggressive minds. It worked. After 6 days, a Reaver scout approached. Boarded. Found no weapons. Found only gifts. Found him. A lone human, sitting cross-legged on the floor, sipping terrible coffee, reading a dog-eared copy of Mechanical Engineering for Beginners. They brought him to Vrax. The warlord was a mountain of scarred flesh and cybernetics, his body augmented with stolen tech, his eyes glowing red with rage and decay. He sat on a throne made of fused hull plating, surrounded by silent warriors. You come to beg? Vrax growled. No, Ren said, standing slowly. I come to show. He opened the cargo bay. One by one, the repaired systems activated. Engines roared to life without shaking. Cores glowed steady blue instead of flickering red. Medical drones floated forward, scanning the nearest warrior, then projecting his internal injuries, offering treatment. A murmur spread. This is Zalthari trickery, Vrax spat. No, Ren said. It's engineering. Same tech you use. Just fixed. No allegiance. No strings. Just function. He walked to a broken power node, pulled a tool from his belt, and within minutes, restored it. Light flooded the chamber. Silence. Then clapping. Slow at first, then louder. From the back, an old Reaver woman, missing an arm, clapped with her mechanical one. Others joined. Vrax stood furious. You weaken them with comfort. No, Ren said. I give them choice. You don't have to live in broken machines. You don't have to die young. You don't have to hate. And then, in his mind, soft as breath. Well said. He smiled. Back on Zarnax Prime, the Queen felt it, the shift in the force of things. The whisper mind pulsed. The palace lights brightened. The fountain sang a new tune. She knew. He had reached them. Not with force. With fixing. With heart. When Ren returned, there was no grand ceremony. He landed the Humble at dawn. Stepped out, exhausted, thinner, but alive. And there she was, waiting. No guards. No crown. Just her. She didn't speak. Just walked to him, placed her hands on his face. Warm now, trembling slightly, and rested her forehead against his. A Zalthari gesture of trust, of unity, of soul-seeing. Around them, the palace watched in stunned silence. Then, one by one, the lights dimmed, as if giving them privacy. In that quiet moment, Ren whispered, I kept thinking, what if I never saw you again? She pulled back just enough to look at him. Then I would have crossed the stars myself. To find you, to fix what was broken. He laughed. Now who's the engineer? She smiled, truly smiled, and for the first time, leaned down and kissed him, not like a queen, like a woman, like someone who had spent millennia ruling everything but her own heart. And as the twin suns rose over Zarnax Prime, bathing the palace in gold and silver light, the whisper spread not through words, but through feeling. Something new had begun. Not war, not alliance, but something deeper, something that couldn't be measured in shields or treaties. Something that, for the first time in the history of two species, simply dared to say, maybe we can heal each other. Years melted like starlight into dawn. The war faded. The Reavers, one by one, laid down their rusted weapons. Some joined the alliance. Others drifted into peace, rebuilding their ships, their lives. Many using schematic signs simply. From Ren. Try not to blow it up. On Zarnax Prime, something extraordinary bloomed. In a quiet garden beneath the singing trees, where earth daisies tangled with Zalthari moonvines, Ren Veric and the Queen, now known to all as Lorana, were wed. Not in grand ceremony, but in silence, under the twin moons, hands clasped, foreheads touching, vows spoken not in law, but in breath, in heartbeat, in the shared language of souls that had found each other across galaxies. There were no priests, no crowns, just the whisper mind humming a soft lullaby through the air, and Prince Threll crying into a very confused guard's shoulder. They built a home. Not in the palace, but beside it, half crystalline, half steel, with a garage for repairs, A kitchen that actually had ovens, Ren's request, and a porch wide enough to hold 10 children at once. And hold them it did. Because though Zalthari rarely bore offspring after adulthood, Lorana, changed by love, by peace, by the strange warmth of human touch, defied all records. One child came, then another, then 3 more, arriving together in a rare triple-hatch miracle that made the entire planet pause in awe. They had names like Kiva, Torin, Nessa, Jax, Mira, Dane, and little Sori, who could already fix a broken hover lamp at age 4. Humanoid, but not quite human, not quite Zalthari. Pale skin kissed with gold, hair like spun light, eyes that glowed when they laughed. They ran through the halls of the palace and the workshops of the forge, grease on their fingers, stars in their voices. Ren taught them how to solder, how to laugh at mistakes, how to talk to machines like they were friends. Lorana taught them strength, wisdom, the songs of ancient skies. And when visitors from distant worlds asked, how can such different beings create a family? They would point to the old hammock still strung between the beams of the Spire of Echoes, where Ren and Lorana sometimes sat together at night, her head on his shoulder, watching their children chase fireflies made of data light. We didn't change each other, Ren would say, grinning. We just fixed what was broken. And Lorana, smiling, would add, and loved what was already whole. The universe kept turning. But in that corner of the stars, there was peace, and laughter, and a home.